Welcome to the Voice of the Coast. I am your host, Danica Foley-Long, and I'm here with Mac Wade, who is our Executive Director with the Port of Morgan City. Now, I'm just so overwhelmed because there's so much we want to talk about. And look, it's not the same typical conversation we always talk about, right?
Right.
Well, because this comes around at least once a year, we have to talk about hurricane preparation 2021. So let's start off with that and let's go into how prepared is the port for this upcoming storm season.
Nika, I'm glad you asked. I would like to say, y'all did hear Danica when she mentioned her name. You did hear the last name, and congratulations. I just want to point that out. I didn't know if y'all caught that. But yes, hurricane season. Gosh dang, why do you have to bring the subject up? We have been looking at it. We've had calls. I've been on 2 calls this morning. I've been on one with NOAA, and I've been on one with the Corps. There'll be another one at 4 o'clock until this bad weather moves out of the area. It was a wave. They expected to go to a depression, a tropical depression, maybe by early afternoon. It could even go to tropical storm warning. Right. It's still 24 hours from now, we're going to know a lot more. Mm-hmm. But Danica, when you say, well, what preparations have we made? We had our hurricane preparedness meeting back in May. We had over 100 people attend that meeting or Zoom in. And when I say 100 people, we had the Weather Service, we had the Corps, we had the Coast Guard, and then we had the weather folks. We also had a lot of the stakeholders, your mayors, your parish council people. And I've got some more when I talk about this TSA thing we had later on. But this area comes together. This area knows what the right hand and the left hand's doing. We don't work opposite of each other. The levee district, the drainage boards.
I will say it's kind of odd for me to be having a weather conversation with you,
right,
because you're with the port.
Right.
But you're right, and I have been in those conversations. I've been at those meetings where everyone is at the physical table.
Yes,
there is
and they participate.
Yeah.
They participate. So. Worst thing about it, it's kind of funny the way the Corps the weather station doesn't want to say, last year was the worst season we've ever had. They ain't saying we're not saying it's going to be as bad, but they're saying it's going to be above normal. We're expecting we got to keep our
yes,
and that's not good to be similar to last year. But we definitely have to keep our eye on it, and this community and the other services around us are also monitoring everything for us.
And the thing is, we were spared. Let's just say
yes.
what it is. We were spared last
year. Thank you, Jesus.
But this is another year.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Here we are. As well as far as our port, our railway, are we secure? Are we ready? Our waterway, are we secure?
Yes, and when you talk about how we're secure, last week we had a meeting with TSA. TSA is Transportation Safety Administration. TSA, that's who runs when you go to the airport, you're flying
that's
out.
Right. You hear TSA all the
that's
time.
TSA. Mm-hmm. They're part of Homeland Security. TSA came in about 8 months ago just to do a surprise TWIC inspection, the TWIC card. Transportation Workers Identification Card. They came in just to check, and while they were there, they were saying, we can there's other training we offer for y'all and everything. So we said, yeah, we may look at that. And they came down about a month and a half later just with the people out of New Orleans, and they did us a little drill, and we were impressed with it. I had the levee district there. We had the Coast Guard there. It was just a small gathering. And they said, we would like to bring the folks in from D.C., and do a trial run for you and test. Danica, that was in about 6 months. We had conference calls once a month preparing for this conference that came up. And last week, they came in last Wednesday, 11 of them out of D.C., Washington, D.C., to set up and get things lined up. And I was kind of wondering, they wanted to come in and do a drill. Well, how's this going to go? We're going to have anybody here? We had over 60 people in attendance, and then there were people on the phone. Now, it was all like first responders that came in. We had TSA, we had Coast Guard, we had Corps, we had the FBI, we had Burlington Northern Rail.
So pretty much this is in preparation if anything were to happen, whether it
Some
be
type of attack or terrorist or, anything in the area, because we got a facility security plan that the port operates under. It's managed under the Coast Guard. And it has to, you got to follow that. Well, what happens if this, and this happens? Well, they put this, and this on us. And we had the fire departments, we had the police departments, the sheriff's departments, we had GOSEP, all these different agencies were there, and they gave us different scenarios. And I'm very pleased to say this area works together in unison, all these different agencies.
All right, well, we have much more to cover. So like I told you, the conversation is going to go a little bit different than what we normally talk about. But come on back right here on The Voice of the Coast with yours truly. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. We have Mac Wade, who is the Executive Director with the Port of Morgan City. Now, we're talking about TSA. Now, TSA, yes, you hear about TSA oftentimes when you go to the airport. It's the same TSA.
Right.
And you are saying that we're prepared in the event we have, let's say, terrorist attacks, natural disasters. They kind of went through a lot of these scenarios. Give me maybe a scenario that worked or, that helps us out here.
Danica, I sleep much better after that meeting, and the residents of this area ought to sleep better. They gave us a scenario. We have a rail track that comes into the Port of Morgan City. There was a bomb on one of them. It blew up. Oh gosh, dang! That's horrible. What do you do? At the same time, there was a boat at your dock that's been hijacked, and there's gunshots being fired. That's going on now too. Oh yeah, we're going to throw one more at you. You got a tug with a red flag tug that's rammed into the bridge, and it's caught fire. All three of these things going on at one time. I'm proud to say our first responders, all our agencies in this area. You say, well, Mac, you couldn't handle all that much. These agencies got a backup plan. I mean, you got to put perimeters around you, and you may have to keep expanding the perimeter, make it bigger. We don't have enough policemen, we don't have enough deputies, but all the surrounding parishes are also at this meeting. They would send help in.
Okay.
The state would send help in. The state GOSEP people were there. Now, can they be there in 5 minutes? No, they got to come from Baton Rouge, they got to come from the surrounding parishes. But our people are on point on this thing. From the wildlife fisheries, from the Coast Guard, all these different agencies, the Sheriff's Department, they worked together. TSA was amazed. The people out of D.C. said this doesn't happen when we've conducted this at other places.
Okay.
You got different people, got different opinions, want to fight. Everybody knew where you're going to be, what you're going to do, what you're going to do. If I fall out because the heat's got me, you got somebody stepping in. I was very pleased to know that our people are that well trained and that well prepared. So it's a good thing for our community.
All right, sounds good. But here's one that's a real scenario that actually happened, and we just found out that there was some damage to the Bayou Chene project, which is still in
Yes.
it's still in construction. What's happening, and how well are our people handling that?
Danica, that's under the waterways. That falls under the Coast Guard. Coast Guard has jurisdiction. The Coast Guard was at our board meeting Monday night, and they addressed us on it. The structure got hit. I'm not speaking for the St. Mary Levee District, but it was published. I mean, it was mentioned. The structure got hit twice last week. Now, this is an $80 million structure.
Yes.
That's going to protect 6 parishes. I don't know what's going on. The structure has been hit 8 times in the last 4 months.
Oh my goodness.
Twice last week, and most of these tows that are going through there, this is during the daylight. It wasn't nighttime. It wasn't raining. It wasn't fog. Daytime. I don't know what's going on. The Coast Guard is investigating all the different
Is it
issues.
wide enough?
Danica is 400 foot wide.
Yeah, I know.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Really?
I don't.
But now the structure right now is reduced down to 200 foot wide. because they're putting in the final touches on the floodgate and everything, and you got to work half a channel at a time. They're working on this side, the 200 foot, and then when they get that finished, they'll switch over and go on the other side where the passage. The train bridge out here is not that wide. The locks are only 75. You go through there every day.
Yeah.
How are you? I don't know, but the Coast Guard is investigating.
I will say, just on the roadway, you can be on your cell phone. You can do the same way on the road, on the waterway.
I don't know
We'll just chalk it up to that. We
Right.
don't really know for sure. There is an investigation going on.
Yes,
So
yes.
they have that to handle. But when we come back, I definitely want to talk more about this waterway. I want to talk about money.
Yes.
You know, that is my number
Yes.
one. What I talk about, I love to talk about, and that's bringing money to St. Mary Parish.
I like that.
And we'll talk about that when we come back. Come on, right back here to the Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. It is time to talk about money, 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 money. So you know this is my favorite topic because I just think we have the finest waterways in this area. We just need to utilize it more. You told me something that just made me say cha-ching, cha-ching. We have this MARAB, and that's like the Maritime Administration.
Department, right.
Right, it's a long acronym, right? It's a department out of D.C.
Out of D.C.
You say D.C., and that says cha-ching to me as well, but it also might scream red tape. How is this going to be beneficial to our area?
MARAD is over the Maritime Administration, a huge agency up in Washington, D.C., very much involved in any of the waterways. They have a new program called the Maritime Highway. They're wanting to make us the Chafalaya River, part of the Maritime Highway. What it's trying to do is put more traffic on the waterfront and the rivers and less traffic on the highways. You can move a lot more stuff on a barge or a container than you can ever do on a highway.
Come on.
They're wanting to come down in November because we're telling them we're going to have our channel open in the fall. And they're very interested. We've been talking to them planning this for over a year. What's the connection? They're wanting to come down and do a ribbon cutting because we've also been on the calls with the people up the Red River. The Red River is wanting to send material down to Morgan City to be transshipped onto ships and shipped out, and they got material coming in. They want to bring material into Morgan City. We'll put it on barges and we'll ship it up the Red River. So that's a maritime highway they're looking at. So Cindy's been working very, very hard on putting this together. She would have been here today, but she was on another call. But she's been working on this for a long time. But Danica, we will have y'all out there. It's good for the community.
Yes.
It gets our name spread all across the waterways in the country. So it's a very important meeting we'll have coming up in the fall.
Now, this is still in the infancy stage? I mean,
it's finalized. We've got a date. If I told you if it was November the 9th or 10th, it's one I don't know exactly, but Cindy has it all lined up. And we will be sending notifications out when they're coming in, what's going on. But MARAD's coming in from D.C. with a bunch of folks. We'll have Coast Guard. You'll have stakeholders there. It's going to be big for the area.
Okay. Another thing that
Plus, we may get money from them also.
Oh, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, Danica, we had Senator Cassidy in 2 weeks ago.
And that's where I was going. Let's go with it.
Yes.
Before you go there, let me say this because I got to set this up because you mentioned his name. And let me tell you, I monitor our Facebook page. And when I tell you, not a lot of people are really happy with Senator Cassidy. Of course, I don't necessarily get caught up in the politics of things, even though that is my business.
Right.
However, I want to know, just like everyone else wants to know, what has he done for me lately?
Okay, let me just say this. First of all, he is our U.S. Senator. He has 5.5 years left on his term. What the Senator's done, he helps get us money for dredging for this area. We just received in the President's budget, which the Senators have to sign off on, our congressmen have to sign off on, and then the President signs off on. If those people don't sign off on this, I get nothing. We got $16.3 million for dredging in next year's President's budget. Danica, let me say this. We normally get $4 million.
Wow.
We got 16.3. Now you say, well, Mike, $4 million, you spend more than that. Can you tell us about all this money you get? That's right. And the president's budget always comes out low. That's where the $4 million. But we know there's upside to that. We know there's work plan money, there's supplemental money. We have people in D.C. working on chasing all that money. But to get 16.3 right out of the chute, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We got several more chances at the apple to get some more money. And it takes people like Senator Cassidy to say, yes, they need the money.
Now, is he familiar with what Bryce is doing? You got 30
Yes,
seconds.
ma'am. That and when he came down, his office called and said the senator would like to come by and visit with the port, see what's going on. And that's when I told him, I'm going to have the Bryce dredge brought into the port of Morgan City. The Bryce dredge is that specially built dredge we have working out there in the barge channel, which we've talked about for the last couple of years. But Senator Cassidy, I talked to him 6 years ago about us doing it. And he was very familiar and glad to see it was working. The Corps was there, said it's performing, it's saving us money, and it's doing the job.
Well, there you have it. So for all the folks wondering, there it is right there. I appreciate that. Come on back. We got our last segment to go right here on The Voice of the Coast. Welcome back to the Voice of the Coast. Again, I am your host, Danica Foley. We have our very own Mac Wade, who is the executive director with the Port of Morgan City. We'll get to West St. Mary eventually, because we definitely got to have them come in. So $16.3 million.
Yes.
Typically for dredging projects throughout a year is $4 million. That is times 4. So where's all that money going to go?
That money is going to be very well utilized and spent on our river. We have tremendous dredging problems down the river, which I'm waiting on a dredge that should be coming out of Conrad's, probably maybe in July sometime. That will go down there from Crew Boat Cut all the way out to Eugene Island. We've got to finish that. Bryce has got our channel open down there in the bar.
What is the last, because I'm going to tell you, the last time, and I always check on it, so I want to check on it now.
Yeah.
We were running at least, what was it, 16 to 18 feet?
That I get a dredge report every day. The drag heads are running around 21 to 22 foot.
What?
Yes.
That's over the authorized
And
depth.
now I've still got a sand problem, but they're keeping that cleaned out. That's why this ribbon cutting is going to take place.
Come on.
We're hoping to have the dredge, this one come in, and we have a complete channel. We are going to have a channel. I'm saying we're hoping. No, it's going to be open.
Okay.
Bryce is doing everything they need to. So we need money. Bryce gets money on dredging. We got a lot of dredging down below. And real quick, last month we had a dredge in Berwick Harbor. That was the Jadwin. The Corps dredge came in to kind of sweep along the docks, because I don't have another dredge coming in until August. So they've swept along the docks. That will at least hold us hopefully till August, September time we get another dredge in. Okay. But I want one other thing, Danica. Also, 2 weeks ago, we had about 6 members from the Nichols Center, Coastal Center.
Right. And that was actually just recently went online, maybe the beginning of the year, last year? Yes, so that's a new
CPRA is helping.
Center?
Yes. It's like the Water Institute, but Nichols has a Water Institute, which is great for our area. We had about 6 of the professors that came over last week. They took a trip down the river, because they're trying to figure out how we're going to save Terrebonne Parish. The only way you're going to save Terrebonne is the Chafalaya River. You need some of our sediment and you need some of our fresh water. And,
I think I know where this is going.
And while we were down there, we showed them the last time we dredged 8.5 million yards. It didn't look like what we dredged. It looked like beaches for 3 miles. We pumped it all up. Foley Island.
Come on.
It's got vegetation. It looks like a jungle. You can't tell it from, that's what we're telling them. This material is so rich. But they came in and they're going to be coming back. They're going to be over here a lot. They're trying to figure out, because the minute you take our material and throw it on the bank, it starts growing that fast. And these professors.
That's what I'm trying to tell you about Foley Island.
That Foley Island is,
you might have to call it Foley Long Island, but it was Foley Island, and it is rich in vegetation, and it needs life form besides birds. So we need
it is done. That material, the way they pumped it, it is not falling back in the river on us. I got problems in the river because I need to make Foley Island even bigger. And when this dredge, that 16.3 million, Foley Island is going to grow. Let me just tell you that.
Come on.
We're going to keep adding to it. So it's doing it. It's really important to get them over here to see what we can do. You know, I can talk about it, but once you get down there and see it, it's very, very impressive.
Okay, I only have a minute left.
Okay.
So I know one of the things we talked about before is pumping, is it sediment or sand to Terrebonne? That's very expensive,
That's
right?
very,
yes.
Danica, what
So-
else you going to do? You're washing away.
Yes.
We're your
So
only salvation.
In St. Mary Parish, we're gaining, whereas they are washed away. What's the alternative?
The alternative, either you mine the Chafalaya or you're going to wash away Terrebonne. Our coastal area is growing, is thriving as far as is the land growing. We're creating land.
Yeah.
The other ones are not.
Yeah.
We don't have the saltwater intrusion. Our areas are all good down there.
So it's good to know that Nicholls State Coastal Center came here, can find out what we're doing, and hopefully
can we
help
work
out.
together?
That sounds good to me. Thank you as always. Thank you very
Danica,
much.
thank you for letting the port be here today.
No
Thank you very
problem.
much.
Make sure to tune to us on Facebook and YouTube. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.